keeps it low, and it's gone in! It's gone in! Adelaide Uni have scored in time added. Tries to get under control, and the shot from Tolland! Salisbury into a 2-0 up! Neil Butler with another chance, it's 2-1 to Playford! Persistence has paid off for Playford!
One touch the keeper, puts it into the bottom corner. Beach gives him a shoulder after that as well. He's lost his clean sheet and he's lost his head with a red card. David, this is massive.
And the geezers too, yeah, we're doing this thing.
Hello and welcome to episode 3 of One Game at a Time for the year that is 2025. I'm Seb O'Neill, joined by, as always, starting off with David Grant. David, how has your week been? And a question for you. What is your favourite musical?
My week has been all right. Are you wearing a Partick Thistle shirt? It looks like a Partick Thistle shirt you've got on there. And my favourite musical, I tell you what my favourite musical is, a lesser known Irish film called Once, about a struggling musician who busks in Grafton Street in Dublin and meets a young lady, and they hit it off and they write songs together, and it's a wonderful little musical. It's called Once. If I had to pick a well-known one, I would probably go for something like Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
That was a more in-depth answer than I expected. Also joined by Alessio. How are you? And also same question to you.
I'm good, Seb. I've actually only been introduced to musicals and watching them very recently by my girlfriend. So if she's watching, she knows that she's made me watch a few. I think it was Hamlet that we watched, the most recent one. And then I think we might be watching Wicked sometime soon. So any of those two are my favourites at the moment. So
Favourites by default, the best wording in the world. And also joined by Mark Talbot. Mark, how are you? And what is your favourite musical?
Well, Seb, and my favourite musical, too many to name. I've seen The Lion King, I've seen Wicked. The funniest one was, I can't think of the name of it. It's the Book of Mormon. That's very funny.
Yes.
But no, I like all of them. I've been going to them for years, and lucky enough, I was in London, got the West End, so I went to quite a few. So too many to name. But Lion King's probably right up there.
Very, very nice. I'd have to say Mamma Mia, but I watched Saturday Night Fever. Does Saturday Night Fever count as a musical, do you think?
No.
Because they don't really sing, but it's like very musical related.
Nah, it's not a musical.
All right, well then I'll go with Mamma Mia.
I love the fact that Alessio's just started to get involved. That's brilliant. And I, as soon as he said I've only watched one, I was like, that's because his girlfriend.
yeah, and I got it wrong as well. It was Hamilton, not Hamlet. Hamlet would be not
I did think you say Hamilton at least.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yes, and David, you did mention we were donated this shirt by Metro Stars. I'm the one that gets to wear that though. Thank you for them for sending this out. It's a very nice shirt. I'm very happy to wear it, and it fits me quite nice. You know, not too big, not too small. And
is it a player's shirt or?
I'm not sure.
Much worn?
I'm nervous about standing up in my own room, but like you know.
Does it have McNamara on the back?
No, it's got no. I was actually. That is the one complaint I'll give. There was no number on the back, which I was not expecting, but I was hoping for.
No match one like you played for one.
I know. Yeah, hopefully that's coming soon.
You can fix that with a marker pen or something.
Just write a big number 4 on the back. And I guess going forward into our first suburb, even before our picks, meaning it must be important, a club with almost similar colours to Metro Stars, Anglevale. Was revealed today to be joining the State League 2 for next season, alongside both Plympton and Barossa, which we already known. Another team that will join from the North League, which I'm very happy about. I'm not sure how the Southerners in the group feel, but I suppose Alessio, we'll start with you as a player in the State League 2, although the South. More teams is surely only a good thing, no?
Yeah, and I think it's fantastic to see how quickly some of these get involved. I mean, when the restructuring came out, they said they wanted eventually, I don't know if they had a date, maybe it was 2028 or 2030, or maybe they didn't specify in general, but they said they want eventually to have 12 in each. So to have 3 of the future 8 already set and for 2026 it means only 5 more to come in their current plan. So to see them come about so quickly as well is great to see. Anglevale as well. We're going to see them in the Australia Cup this weekend, so we're going to talk about that later on. But it's a good club, another northern club for you. Looks like they've got great facilities there too, and they have a lot of fans that come out. So it's great to see that a team like this is joining the leagues, and I think it's only for the better. And maybe the southern team's got to step up their game.
Mark Talbot, your response to that?
Mate, there's not a whole heap of southern teams that play in the amateur league that aren't already affiliated with a collegiate or a club already, like Seaford. They've got their own, and then you've got Panthers have got a collegiate team. So you're looking at, I mean, the most southern, you're looking at someone like Southern Knights or even South Coast, really. I mean, you could go, I don't know if Aldinga have got a team this year, but they did have a team. So, I mean, there's not a lot. When I say quite way down south, otherwise, I mean, I think McLaren Vale have got a team as well, but they've been a different league at the moment.
Do we go even further north to Port Elliot and go Southern Breakers even?
Yes, of course.
So, I mean Port Elliot's closer than Port Pirie.
True. Yeah, true.
Look, I think the Anglevale inclusion, the only question I've got is, are they going to bring in one more team for next year just to even the numbers up? Because obviously if they're bringing 3 in next year, it leaves an odd number somewhere. So are they going to bring in one more before next year to make it just an even split and make it easier for themselves to do fixtures, and then there's no buys in one of the leagues?
I was going to say, yeah, looking at logic, there's already the 2 northern teams in both Barossa and Plympton, so you assume alongside Plympton there would be another southern team. David, I guess your thoughts in general on it?
I still have concerns about what happens to the quality of our competition when more sides are coming in like this. But I guess I expressed that concern before. And I do still hark for the day when we can have a full pyramid system in the state between, the collegiate league, the amateur league, and the bottom of state leagues 1 and 2, just to encourage some accountability for teams that are underperforming arguably in State League 2, and to encourage those teams that are overperforming in SASL and CSL to come up. So I still have reservations about introducing teams without any on-field merit. How's that as a nice way to put it? You get into the competition if you've got the money and you've got a fence and all of that sort of stuff, but you don't necessarily get in if you have tradition, history and all of that. So I'm a little bit cynical about it, but that's my view.
I guess the final point on this is, as you said, we need, or you'd hope there's one more team to be added. Mark, you said there's not as many South teams, I guess, perhaps that could be considered, but if there was to be a logical next team, who do you think it would be?
Oh, geez. Like I said, the 2 biggest South clubs are your Southern Knights and your South Coast, the Breakers. I think they're the Breakers, South Coast United. So they're the 2 probably the biggest teams. When I say South, I'm talking like my way, Seaford, South Adelaide way, because there's not much further south than me, football-wise. I mean, you've got like McLaren Vale and I think Aldinga. So for me, logically, it'd be one of those 2 teams. One of them plays out of South Adelaide's ground anyway, in Southern Knights, coached by Benny Dale. So, and the other team, South Coast, have actually got quite a few ex-Noarlunga players. I believe the Condon boys are out there who all played at Noarlunga and things like that. So they've all had experience at State League 1, State League 2, and some of them NPL level as well. So, and they're coached by Steve Moon, who used to coach out at Seaford as well. So they've got some players there that would be able to cope in State League 2.
Yeah, and I suppose the other thing as well is, as you said, there's not as many South teams, but there almost has to be a next one. But you've still got teams perhaps like Elizabeth Downs or even Tea Tree Gully have been getting better with their facilities lately as well. It'll be a very interesting, I guess, thing for them to have to deal with going ahead with the expansion going forward.
They'll just move the dividing line a bit further. They'll just move that dividing line again.
Eastern United is a southern team.
That's what I'm saying. They'll just, and that's the thing. As teams get promoted and relegated from State League 1, that line will consistently shift. So just one of those things. Like you might have a team that's as far north, maybe as Modbury, that might have to play, just as an example, might have to play in the Southern League because we've got more teams even further north. So,
we've
like I said,
been
that
going
line's always
Kilburn
gonna
out of out of Ferryden Park, even maybe. But mate, I don't know if it would be a test for them rather if they expect maybe 2 North teams this year to get promoted and maybe some South teams from the State League 1 to get relegated. I don't know if they run that risk that late on into the season, but it could be a play for them to see if they can even it up without having a 4th team. But I guess we'll wait and see.
Very, very interesting. Very much looking forward to the new teams coming in for next year. Right, on to our picks. I'll go first, which is with what was perhaps probably the biggest news of the week. Our young Socceroos played in an under-20 Asian Cup final in which South Australians starred, ended up going to penalties. First one taken by our very own Luki Ivanovic. It was a very good game. I watched it alongside Antonis and Johnny, our good friends, at my house into the late hours of the night. David, I don't think you made it all the way through, though. I think you said you fell asleep.
Yeah, but that wasn't for any reason other than I'm an older person, and by the time 9 o'clock comes around, I'm just about ready to be tucked up in my bed. So
yeah, absolutely. As we said, South Australians coming up clutch, and Mark, our very own Stephen Hall, now at Brighton, pretty much winning us the game on penalties as well. How great is that?
Yeah, look, it's kind of become expected of him now to make big saves and turn games. He's a phenomenal keeper, and that's the best part about it, is that he's come from SA, produced here. He's now obviously at Brighton, which is just massive. So for him to then make this, the save that he made was just phenomenal. It's funny how Australia, I saw a stat the other day, Australia just brilliant on penalty situations where a keeper's come up and saved one and won it, or someone's had to score one. I mean, that save's just phenomenal. Look at Schwarzer with his save, you look at Aloisi with his penalty, and there was just so many of them, and I was just like, oh my days. And Stevie Hall's just added himself to that stat as well. But that's just phenomenal, that save.
can I just say, so I was awake earlier on in the match when he conceded the goal, and I was really shocked that he made that save behind the line. So I was so glad that he had redeemed himself in the penalty shootout, because imagine if they'd lost and that had been the goal that cost. It's amazing how you get a 90-minute match of football, or in this case, 120 minute match of football that can really affect someone's career or make be a defining moment for someone in their career. You know, because imagine if they'd lost in that goal that he'd conceded. I'll say he conceded, the team conceded, but that stop behind the line was what he was remembered for. It would just have been awful for him. So magic to see him, come out on top eventually with that save, and what a save it was.
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose, Alessio, just finally to you, 6 South Australians made it onto the pitch at one time. 3, I think, took penalties. How important is that?
Yeah, I think it's massive. I mean, the young teams in the Socceroos, Joeys, the Matildas, young Matildas as well, used to winning some big tournaments. This is probably the biggest of them all. And it's just great to see them all step up on the big stage. I just saw that when I watched it back, the Johnny Yule one, he got a bit lucky, but the rest of them, they were great penalties. And yeah, it just goes to show what we got in our locker. And so many of these players are going to have exciting careers in the Isuzu A-League as soon as they get back, and some of them are already overseas. So the more the merrier.
Absolutely. And I think for those Adelaide United players, they're going to need to start having a good career almost immediately. Mark, on to you for your pick.
My pick is actually, funny enough, I think it was the same as last week. It's the
so was mine, to be fair. I think I did York Socceroos last week as well.
Yeah, I think so. But mine's the Seamus Marin Memorial game that was played.
Just to remember that,
on Saturday. I was lucky enough and honoured to play in that game, and we managed to catch up with Johnny Munker, who is a NPL State League player himself, many years at Port Pirates and Olympic, and And Seamus's best mate, Connell, as you can see there, the video, the one with the beard, just talking about the day and what it means to a lot of people, and what the Black Dog Institute can do and aid with mental health. And the crowd was just massive. So it was an absolute honour to be a part of it. And I say this to everyone. I said, if you are struggling, it is okay to not be okay, and it is okay to reach out. And even as viewers of this show, if you find that you need to talk to someone, even this show will happily listen and be there for someone if needed.
Absolutely. Mark, as you said, a very big day, big crowd there as well. Of course, you play. How did you come up after as well?
Yeah, I actually, surprisingly, a lot better than I anticipated. Did hurt my ribs. I actually bruised my ribs in a trip, but that's all good. That was hurting. But overall, actually, a lot better than I anticipated. But it was just great to play with some of the legends that were on that park. Nicky Orr, who's a Serge Melter winner, was playing in the midfield for us. Darren Steele, club legend at Para Hills, and he was captain for many, many years. Michael Greco, who was a club captain at Para Hills as well. And then on the other side, we had Frankie Marin, we had Andy Allen in goal. We had just Andy Thompson as well playing at the back, who was an Elizabeth City stalwart for many years. Like, it was just incredible to see some of the legends that turned out for these club legends that turned out for this game. And the crowd was massive. Would have been over probably 500 or 600, 700 people there. Like, it was just huge.
Can I ask you a question, Mark, just about that injury you sustained? You said you had a trip and you fell and you hurt the chest. Just a question, was anybody near you at the time?
Yeah, funny enough, it was actually their captain. I went past him and he was like, I'm not chasing you. So he threw out a leg and I tried to jump it, but by that stage my legs were already gone. So I just went over and I landed awkwardly, but no, it's all good. Fortunately, it wasn't on my own.
I just had this notion, this idea in my head that maybe nobody was near you. You just fell over.
Yeah, no, that's the best part about it. It wasn't me just falling over.
It was good to see you play for a little bit, Mark. However, not much. You didn't touch the ball or really do anything.
That's it. That was the plan. Left back. I haven't been on the park for 10 years, so I was like, this is all right. I can handle this. And I said to the boys before the game, I said, I have one run in me. That's it. One run. I'm busting my lungs down the wing once. And I did that in like the first 2 minutes, and then I was done for.
It's the excitement that gets you.
I just wanted to get it out of the way because then I could just sit back and relax.
David, on to you. What do you have for us?
So, my pick of the week is the International Football Association Board, IFAB. Now, that's the group that make changes to the rules of our game, and they very often introduce sensible ones that I think advance the game. So, for example, they banned the deliberate back pass to the goalkeeper. And I recall as a kid watching games, and you might be watching Scotland versus England, and England always, because they were terrible for this, only England, would be passing the ball back to their goalkeeper, Ray Clements, who would pick it up and then waste time. And they also introduced the mandatory, this is IFAB, introduced the mandatory red card for a deliberate attempt to deny an obvious goal scoring opportunity. That was another good move. But then they've done some other things that I haven't really quite understood. So 2 or 3 years ago, they introduced the rule that said at a centre kick, the ball, which had to travel forward, now has to travel backwards. And I've got no idea what that rule does in terms of changing the game or improving the game. It just sounds like a change for the sake of change, which is one of my pet hates. Anyway, my pick of the week is the rule that they've brought in, which will filter through to our game. And that is that they are now introducing a rule that says that when a goalkeeper receives a ball and holds the ball under control, he has 8 seconds to release it. If he doesn't release it in the 8 seconds, a corner kick will be delivered, will be awarded against him. The current rule is that if a goalkeeper holds a ball for 6 seconds, he is punished with an indirect free kick. The problem is that rule is not really enforced. How many times are you at a game and you hear people shouting, 6 seconds, referee, 6 seconds, and nothing happens? The referee might just wave them, encourage them to play on. So I think the greatest irony of this new rule is that IFAB have introduced this rule to reduce time wasting. But you would think they would reduce the 6 second period that the goalkeeper has to release the ball. But no, they've increased it. So in an effort to reduce time wasting, they've increased the period of time a goalkeeper has from 6 seconds to 8 seconds. Seems a bit silly to me, seems a bit redundant. But that rule will filter through to our game, probably, well, not this season. It's introduced in July, and we'll see it next year, I would expect. But that's my pick of the week. IFAB and silly things they do.
Well, I guess just quickly, Mark, how often were you actually picked up on 6 seconds? It's probably
Never.
the main question.
Never picked up on it, and most goalkeepers aren't, to be honest. And the reason I think with that is that they've extended it and gone, okay, well, I think if they manage it properly now, they get to 8 seconds and they can pull them straight away. Whereas with the 6, they go, okay, we'll give them a bit of time. But it's also about when they adjudge the goalkeeper to have control of the ball. That's the biggest thing. Like, as far as I'm saying, as soon as the goalkeeper holds it, normally they'll fall to the ground and then they wait a few seconds, then they get up and then they start the count. So for me, as soon as he's got control of it, if he's gone on the ground, he's got control of it. If he's lying down with it for 3 seconds, that's 3 seconds of his 8 gone. So as long as they enforce it.
I sort of think that the problem is that they've got a rule that works already. They just don't enforce it. The other thing I just picked up today as well, I was just going to read out to you, is the rule that they brought in 2023-24. The penalty kick, goalkeepers are no longer allowed to unfairly distract a penalty taker. So this says goalkeepers are no longer able to taunt opposition players during penalties. Clarification is that the goalkeeper must not behave in a manner that fails to show respect for the game and the opponent by unfairly distracting the kicker. Defending goalkeeper must remain on his goal line. He must face the kicker between the goalposts. He can't touch the goalpost, the crossbar, the goal net until the ball is kicked. And he can't behave in a way that unfairly distracts the kicker. But penalty kickers can't they? They can do all of the dummy runs. They can lay off a little pass. They can do all of the fancy little panenkas. And what takes the piss more than that? I just don't really understand some of these decisions that IFAB make. But there you go.
I don't think I've ever seen Mark so happy that someone else has stuck up for goalkeepers before.
Finally.
Alessio, on to you for your pick, the final one for today.
Yeah, so similarly to Seb, as he did in the first round of fixtures, there was some Monday night State League 1 action. He had obviously the Pontian game this week. I had the Monday nights at Martin that returned. They seem to have their home games there quite often, so it might be a fixture where you attend more times in the future. But it was against Vipers, who are a team that many of us on here and maybe many people elsewhere had probably tipped
or a
to not
team
have
that
the best.
hate us, probably.
Yeah, maybe not tipped to have the best of seasons, but after pulling off a draw against the big favourite last week against West Adelaide, looked like they were going to get the 1-0 win here until Dante Cacciavallani had a final say, but their pressure just paid off. There's quite a lot of added time as well. They brought a good fan base as well, which I was surprised at. And there's quite a few people there in the first half on Monday afternoon. But they just had a fantastic win here late on. Celebration continued well into the night as well for them. And now they picked up 4 points from the opening 2 games. It's just great to see, and they're a young stars in that team that are really providing a lot of action for us. There's a few missing as well to injury that night, but that young Oscar Moore, 2007 born, who had a great year last year as well, a couple of goal of the season contenders as well, and goal of the week winner, I'm pretty sure as well. He just was an absolute threat, both ends of the pitch, created one, scored one. And they're a team to watch, I think. Definitely Vipers. They proved us all wrong. And maybe they're going to push for top 6. And I'm sure if they're watching at home or watching tomorrow on the replay, we're gonna be nice to you for the rest of the season.
Can I just, at the risk of incurring their wrath after your sincere message there, Alessio, I don't know if you can go back to the start of that third goal there, Seb, what you're doing.
I just win, David.
I was
is that
going to say too.
How is that not I honestly thought that was a foul throw.
Yeah, so it just looks like is that not a foul throw? So sorry, Vipers, we love you, we think you're great, we echo everything that Alessio's just said, but I don't know if that winning goal should have counted. Is it? He's hurtling it into the ground.
It's
isn't
a
he?
very, very
looks a
deep.
foul
It's
throw
a
to
deep
me.
bow. It's a very deep bow.
Yeah. Anyway.
Did you notice it at the time,
No, it was-
Alessio?
I didn't. I don't know. I've seen kind of fouls like that, but it's very weird because I thought if he's trying to make more of the distance, he would arch back further and try and get it longer because he's trying to play a long throw in here, not a short one. So I don't know, but looks like the dark arts are working for him and they're getting the points. So all the props to Vipers, and we'll see what you do this week in the cup against Eastern United.
Yes, absolutely. We won't issue an apology yet. We'll see. We'll give it a few more weeks, and then we'll see what we have to say. Next up, we have a lovely chat with Paul Morris and Joel Porter of Metro United Adelaide Comets. We did a pre-record last night, so without further ado, enjoy. This is a cut-down version as well, and the full version will be available through our Spotify and YouTube pretty much as soon as we are done being live. So yeah, enjoy the chat. Thank you, Seb from the future. David and Mark. Alessio's left us. How dare he? He's got other commitments in the past. It's not good enough, and we're going to have to rethink his playing time for the rest of the season for this podcast.
So we may have to put him on the bench for a week or two.
Maybe,
More
absolutely.
for that.
Maybe. Oh, what? It's the past and the door still knocks? David, you should check who it is, David.
I should even see who it is. Hold on a second, fellas.
All right, we'll wait. Mark, how's your past been?
Yeah, it was actually quite interesting.
Yeah, that's good. David, who was it?
Well, I think it was Paul Morris. Or was it?
Oh,
Yes.
It was Paul Morris. Oh, wow. Wow. Was that all, David? Are you sure there wasn't anybody else at the door? Oh, there's another door.
Oh,
There's
there's another
another
door.
one.
Hang on a second, fellas. Okay.
You go check it. What'd you have for dinner, Mark?
In the past or in the future? I'm not
In the
really
past,
sure.
right now.
In the past,
Yeah.
I had nuggets and chips. Exciting.
Oh,
And
that's very nice,
I'm a
David.
12-year-old, yeah.
That's not wrong with that. David, who was it?
Oh, it was Mr. Joel Porter, everyone.
Oh, it's Joel Porter.
Good evening, lad.
Thank you both for joining us in the past due to you be at training right now, I think, as people are watching this. I'll first start out with a question to both of you. Paul, we'll start with you. Just tell us, I guess, sort of your background, your coaching journey here in South Australia.
Okay. First of all, thanks for having me on, boys. Appreciate it. My coaching journey started here 13 years ago at Salisbury Inter. I was there as a player, got a bit of a knee injury, and sort of morphed into coaching. Did the amateur reserves for a season, then from there went in and coached women's football, which I've been doing for the past 13 years. Started with Community Division 5 from there, and then worked my way through into the first team there, and then into State League, and fortunate enough to get promoted into the Women's Premier League. From there, I had a season at Para Hills after they got relegated. We had a pretty good season there. Unfortunately, couldn't get them back up, but became the first sort of State League to defeat a Premier League Women's Premier League side in the cup, which was coincidence was Inter. From there, I went to Salisbury United. Formed the women's team there, and within 2 seasons we'd won the league and won promotion to the Women's Premier League. Unfortunately, we didn't have enough junior girls at the time, and we were refused promotion to the Women's Premier League. And from there, the girls, were committed to Women's Premier League, so they moved on to different clubs. And from there, I got offered a job at Metro United as the reserves team coach. 2 years there, and then the last 4 years, I've been fortunate enough to be the women's head coach in the WN Premier League.
And for you, Joel?
Yeah, pretty much the same sort of journey. Stopped playing back in 2012-13, come back from the A-League. Obviously, Adelaide's the home state, so came back here and was, looking to play still, obviously, but, injuries and old age, I guess you could say, stopped the playing side, and had an opportunity to work with Ross Aloisi
as his assistant at West Adelaide. That's West Adelaide men's, and then actually through that got the opportunity to assist him with the W League, Adelaide United W League, back in, I think it was 2014 season. So that was my first taste of coaching in the women's game, and then not long after that, my daughter started playing as well. So after a few ventures in the men's game, I decided to coach my daughter's teams. Back only 10 years ago, it was difficult to get junior coaches in the girls' game. So I sort of put my hand up, and then it's turned into being technical directors and things like that, and got the opportunity to move to Flinders Flames to coach the division team there, and from that moved on to their senior coach for the last 3-4 years prior to this year. Had the opportunity to get them into the WNPL, and we managed to stay up for 2 years. And then sort of parted ways, no real particular reason, just sort of grew in different directions, and had really nothing in the horizon to come to or to coach this year. But Comets got in touch not long after I'd made the decision, and it was just a good opportunity to coach in the WNPL again, but obviously with a team that potentially or hopefully are looking to be in that top echelon of the teams throughout the year, and hopefully play finals.
Absolutely, thanks for that, Joel. Paul, I guess going back to your coaching, as you said, you've been at Metro for a few years now. How do you approach, I suppose, another season where people almost sort of know what to expect from your side? I guess how do you sort of change it up without sort of ruining things that you already have going?
Yeah, we're sort of known as the serial team that finishes sixth. That's the last 3 years we're getting closer. Last year we missed out on a point, but this year we've made with my assistant Tony Mansueto, we've made a conscious decision to play a different brand of football we've played in the last 2 or 3 years. We want to play more an attacking brand of football, possession based. But to do that, we made this decision back in October, sort of end of the season. But to do that, we had to recruit. Nothing against the players that we had. We had some great players. We've kept 95% of the squad we had last season, but we needed to bring in a little bit more experience, and also on top of that, we brought a little bit more youth in as well. But to play a different brand of football, we had to bring in a certain type of player, and we targeted 3 or 4 players within the league. We made some approaches. We were fortunate enough to make some good quality signings, and then probably the one piece of the jigsaw we were potentially missing over the years was a centre forward. And when we had trials out of the blue, Andrea Bustos turned up, better known as Pepper, a Chilean centre forward just turned up at trials, and sort of fits the mould of player that we're looking for, and a good quality centre forward we've been fortunate enough to pick up.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things so far about her, and seen her in action as well. We're very much looking forward to seeing how she goes. And just quickly before we move on to Joel, I heard a story, and I want you to either confirm or deny if it's true. Did you use our predictions as motivation for your side before one match that you played in pre-season?
Yep, certainly did. That's just been an ordinary side, I think it was. David, was them your words?
Do you mind, I guess, elaborating as to how it came up and how you sort of spoke to the girls about this? For David's sake, absolutely.
Yeah, well, Sarah Taylor used to be a favourite, David. She's not now, mate. There's one way of putting it. There's a lot of the girls watch the podcast. We again, and I watch it myself every week. I think it's great. I think it's great how you know, and I thank you for that, the way you promote and support the women's game here in South Australia. So we do watch it with interest, and it was your pre-season predictions were very, very interesting from all of you, where you thought this would finish, and potentially based on the back of, as I said, our continuous position of finishing sixth. But it was just something, we spoke about a training. It's those little, Joe will probably understand, those little 1 or 2% as you try to find out of the norm, out of the box, as part of training, as part of preparation, just to give you that little bit more incentive and motivation. And we used it. We used it a little bit in training and used it in the game, and brought a little bit of success.
Your response, David, quickly.
I guess in our position, we put ourselves forward to, we expose ourselves, I suppose, in that we aren't always going to get things right. We try to promote the game as best we can, but we can't. I suppose we have to have honest opinions, and we have to be open and honest, at times. And I hope you prove me wrong, and I hope you win the league and the title and everything else. I can't actually. I think that I sort of predicted we'd finish sixth, and I thought mid-table mediocrity or something. Is that what I said?
That was the word, mid-table mediocrity. I think it was 8th, but it wasn't. Yeah. It wasn't in a nasty way, David. We done it in a bit of humorous and enjoyable way. There was no nastiness in it. We just used it as a bit of a motivation. It wasn't just yourselves. We said it was the show itself, not just an individual.
Okay, thank you. Did you win after that? No, did you win the game?
Beat Adelaide City in the pre-season cup.
You're welcome.
this is what I keep
saying. You didn't get the flowers.
Joel, on to you. I guess an almost complete opposite side to Paul. You're coming into a new side in Adelaide Comets. You've brought a few players over. Has bringing those players over from Flinders sort of helped with integrating how you're going to approach the season? I guess how's the transition been in general?
Yeah, look, we when I first took over, there wasn't any thoughts of taking or bringing any girls over, or needing any girls. But 2 weeks in, and we had a handful of girls that were looking at leaving, so we had to look elsewhere. And obviously the Flinders girls were girls that I knew and knew of, and knew what their characteristics and their good points and bad points. So to bring a couple of the Flinders girls over was pretty much a no-brainer for me if we needed them, and we did. So I think we ended up losing 5 or 6 from last year's senior squad, Comets, and I think I've brought in about the same as well. I've managed to, obviously, the 3 girls from Flinders, Maddie, the goalkeeper, Anna Willoughby, and Lexi Denton. And then we've also managed to bring in ex-NTC Sienna Weston. She spent a year over in Melbourne last year. She said she was coming back and gave us a call, and we had a chat with her, and I actually coached her at Cove under 14s or 15s, so sort of had sort of knew her from back there and knew her talent, and told her what we wanted to do this year and achieve, and she come on board, and then we got a couple of NTC girls that weren't quite. Erin Kay, I'm not going to say the last name, but she's a great little player, but she's had a 12 months off through a really serious back injury, so she's coming back and she's put in really well this pre-season, so she's looking good. And then Mia V, also, who played a fair bit of games last year for their senior team and has just obviously been left out of going forward with the NTC, and Adam, my assistant, actually coached her as a junior as well, so we just had a good chat with her just to see where she's at and what we can help her with and where she wants to go and improve, and Comets was the place for her. So we've managed to bring in some really good girls and experience and youth and girls that are wanting to improve and get to that next level. But at the same time, bringing in 6-7 girls. Sorry, one I forget. We've got a girl coming from Brisbane as well. She's Elizabeth Warren. She's just arrived this week, so she's just started training, but she's also coming back from a ACL injury as well. So we're sort of helping her with that and hoping in the next couple of months she'll be fit, ready to go for some games as well. But so yeah, we've had to bring in 7 girls. We've lost about 6 or 7. So gelling this team and this squad on paper, it looks a very strong squad. But as you guys know, paper doesn't win you matches or games or seasons. So there's been a lot of work that we've had to do in pre-season to get us gelling and to get us understanding the way we want to play. We also want to play an attractive brand of football, possession-based, but at the same time be also ruthless out of possession and not give teams, opportunities to play their style of game because, as you know, the game's getting better in the women's game and most teams now have good squads and can play decent football. So you have to have both ends.
Absolutely. Mark, you had a sort of follow-up question to that?
Yeah, it's more based at Joel with the coaching side of it. How have you had to change your approach with your and the transition from coaching a sort of lower league club, lower table club, to now having to coach a team that is expecting to make finals and make the grand final, or even at least or possibly looking at winning it this year? So have you had to change your approach in any ways, or is it still the same process?
Yeah, no, it's still pretty much the same process. I think, that attacking style of play, I tried to play with Flinders, and on occasions we got it right. Just, and this is no disrespect to the girls at Flinders, we just didn't have the quality all round the squad to be able to be consistent enough to get the amount of wins to get us into the finals or any further. To their credit, they tried and to play the brand that I'm trying to put here with Comets. And, we won enough games to keep us in the league. So they certainly did it on occasions. They just weren't able to keep it as consistent as what I'm hoping this squad with Comets will be able to do. And consistency is the key. And for me, from what I've noticed as well, it's mentality. It's the mental side of the game that is probably the weakest in the women's game. There's no, we're always having to try and bring them the hunger and the desire and the will and the want to, to put forward in games and trainings and all these things. So that's probably been the toughest thing, but that's not just me. I think that'll be just the pretty much everyone who's coaching in the WNPL at the moment. It's just it's a culture thing in the women's game that we're all trying to change, and it is getting better. It's just, at the moment it's not a squad of 16, 18 who, like in the boys' game, they're all mentally want to be that best player on the field. We're not quite got that with the girls at the moment. We've got, a handful, and that's getting us through, but we need to try and change that mentality. Well, that's what I think. That's what I'm trying to do, and to get them to understand that every training session, every game matters, no matter who we're playing.
Yeah.
David, you had a question.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you both, and then whoever wants to go first is fine. I just wondered what your views were on all-female clubs. We've got a few of them in the state, of course. We've got Jaguars and we've got Flinders, and I just wondered if I'm a father of daughters that used to play but don't anymore. Our options up in the hills, we didn't have a female-only club, but I just wondered, do you feel there's an advantage in that, or not? Do you think does it help the girls? Or I just wonder what your opinion was on all-female clubs versus multi-gender. Is that the right term in this day and age?
Yeah.
Because I coach Flinders, who's and just an all-girls club, and there's definitely lots of pros to that. You know, we don't have to share pitches with the boys. If we want the main pitch on the training, we get the main pitch. All money's earned and raised is spent only on the girls. So whether it's getting better coaches in, better equipment, all that stuff. But at the same time, now coming into an environment where previously I've had been at a club where we've had boys and girls, and the men's side weren't particularly, or the club weren't particularly worried about the girls' teams. But I can't say that about Comets. We've come in and pretty much whatever the men's teams get, our girls get. So we've got a fantastic new stadium pitch that's there at the moment. We get equal amount of time on that pitch to what the men's senior team do. We get the same equipment. We're getting all our games videoed. We're getting GPS like the men's teams are getting. So you know, that just helps us as the women's side, obviously, because the men's getting it, it's just an easier access for us to get it. So that's the positives for having the joint men's and women's in at the same club. But look, as long as people are, it really doesn't matter what club you're at, as long as they're making sure that the women's game is progressing. It doesn't matter whether they're affiliated with a men's team or not. That's the main thing. And you've got to have the right people in the club. That's the most important thing.
Paul, I guess to you on that.
Yeah, I think potentially to Leicester popular perception, Metro United is still a women's only club. We're there at TK with Metro Stars, but we're fully funded and supported by Metro United and the committee and the hardworking volunteers there. So we do have facilities at TK, and we're fortunate as part of the upgrade there. We've got our own dressing room there now, which is fantastic for us. You know, we have ice baths in there for after training. We have 70-inch television in there for drop down reviews. You know, we get everything there, but we have no funding from them, so we fund ourselves. And again, like Joel says, it has its plus and minuses with it all. Anything we want is a challenge. You know, with the club are fortunate. You know, we have video and we use that. You know, it's a fantastic tool for us, and we use that for our reviews. But that had to be funded by the club, and it's not a cheap exercise to go out and buy that, and the ongoing subscriptions that we have to do. So, it'd be nice. It'd be nice to be in a position, you know, to have GPS and have pitch time. You know, we TK, yes, we train at TK, but on Monday night we start at 8:00 and we finish at 9:30. You know, we've got girls who travel for an hour. So there's that challenges. Tonight training starts at 4:45. So people have got to finish work, and we're off the pitch by just after 6:00. So we don't get same game time. We don't get, which would be nice, but we have to fit around the requirements at Metro Stars there. Be nice to have the same as what Joel seems to have at Comets, but we make do with what we've got. We're very grateful to the committee. You know, the committee at Metro Stars, it's, you know, this year, as I'm sure you're aware, it's our 20th year. And we still got the same founding members from 20 years ago run the club, and they're passionate about women's football, and will continue to do so. So
I just want to say that I definitely commend you guys for the work you do. As I said before, I'm a father of daughters that play, and I'm all for women's football. I coached under 13s through to senior women at the Hawks, and I'm all for it. And I really appreciate, on behalf of that gender, if you like, if that's the right term, everything that you guys do for the women's game. So well done.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I guess Paul will go back.
I actually said this night, I was just going to mention, Joel, you and I, we've actually crossed swords before in a coaching capacity. Are you aware of that?
No. I hope it was a good experience, mate. I don't know.
I was at the Hawks at the time, and I was coaching the under-17 girls, and I was also involved with the reserve girls, and it was in the immediate post-COVID years. So on occasions when people had COVID, i.e. the main coach is the head coach and his assistant at the time, I would step up and I would coach in the WSL with the Hawks. And on the 3rd of July 2022, I was down at Flinders United with the Hawks girls in a WSL game down there. And our first half was poor. That's the Hawks. Our first half was poor. And at half time, I gave a rallying call and an inspirational half-time talk. We were 1-0 down at the time. And they came out in that second half, a different team. And they conceded 4 more goals. You guys ran out 5-0 winners.
Sorry, I ended your senior career, coaching career like that.
It pretty much was the last game I ever coached. Thanks.
I did the girls a favour then, did I? Is that what I did?
It appears so.
Final, I guess, questions from me. Paul, we'll go to you first. First game, of course, this Friday against newly promoted Campbelltown.
Yep.
I suppose, how do you approach a game against a team where you know how good they were last year, but I guess you haven't really had the ability to sort of see and almost sort of scout how they play in a way?
I've been and watched them. Seb, not a lot when they played Adelaide City at Oakton in the pre-season cup. I went and watched pretty much a half of the game. It's difficult, as Joel said, in pre-season cup games. You don't see you don't see true sides of how they pick, or everyone's trying something different, players in different formations, setups, structures. So we expect it to be a tough game. We watched them. I watched them a little bit last season in the promotion. Again, the challenge is it's a completely different side from last year. I think they've retained 2 or 3 players, brought in probably 9 or 10, potentially 7 or 8 of those will start on Friday night. So it's an unknown. It's an unknown of what you're getting. You can only go off what you've seen and spoke to other coaches and other people who's watched them a bit. But it'll be a tough game for us. We're under no illusions. We've been working since November. We knew roughly where the fixtures were, so we planned a date in our heads where it would be, and fortunately it was the 7th of March is what we've worked towards, a date and a date all pre-season. It's come across as Campbelltown, which is good for us, promoted side. We just hope we get we start well, we put a good display on, we give a good account of ourselves, and we're looking to walk away with 3 points on Friday night. But as I said, they're a bit of an unknown from where they were last season, with a lot of changes in that squad and setup.
Absolutely, it'll be a very interesting game. And then Joel, for you, of course, the football gods sensed irony and put you against Flinders for your first game as head coach at Comets. I suppose, how do you approach that, being against former players and even your old club?
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, obviously we have to play each other at some stage. So for it to be the first game of the season, it's going to be a fantastic spectacle, not only for the Flinders girls but for our girls, because it's our first home game at the new stadium. So you look a little bit apprehensive. Obviously, I know how a couple of the girls play, but they've Tom's come in and he's brought in some new girls as well. So again, I watched them a little bit in a couple of the pre-season games. They've got, if not the best striker in the state, in Cote, in their squad. So she's dangerous for the whole of the 90 minutes. She doesn't have to be doing much, but she only needs a minute to create something or to score a goal herself. So, they've got some, good seasoned WNPL players that have played the last couple of years, plus some really good youngsters that we've bred the last couple of the years and getting opportunities to play. So, the hard thing is that, at the start of the year, everyone predicts this, predicts that. And, obviously with predictions, Flinders are probably the underdog. But with that underdog status, you can go into games with no fear, and that's what they'll have. They'll come there with no expectations. No one's expecting them to get anything out of the game. They can just go there, play the best they can, and whatever. If they lose, then no one cares. If they win, well, hey, they've done the bit they've done. A little bit of the pressure is on us, And that's where we've just been working on that mentality side and making sure, you know, it's not about the opposition we're playing. It's about the 90 minutes of the game and how we can play that game and get the best out of ourselves. And if we can do that more often than not, then, you know, we're likely to win more games than what we lose. So just preparing ourselves for that. Looking forward to a good Friday night. Hopefully a good crowd. It's a great pitch. We've been training on it. The surface is fantastic. So the football, you know, there's going to be no issues with the girls with their passing or controlling the ball. If there is, it's not because of the pitch. So, you know, it's going to be a fantastic night. And hopefully with it being, you know, Tom's old team as well, my old team, we've got a couple of ex-players. They've actually got a couple of our reserve/senior players as well. So, you know, there's a whole lot going on there, and it should make for an entertaining game.
Joel and Paul, thank you both for joining us tonight. Paul, very much good luck for your game against Campbelltown on Friday. And then Joel as well, especially very much good luck to you against your game against Flinders at Ellis Park as well on Friday night. It's been a pleasure to have you both with us.
No, thank you. All the best for the season, Joel, and I'll see you in round 8.
Yeah. And you, Paul. Appreciate it, mate. Good luck too, buddy.
Yeah, all the best.
Thank you,
Thanks,
gentlemen.
boys. Thank you very much.
Take care, mate. Thanks, guys.
Yes, a very, very insightful chat with those two was had, as I'll reintroduce David, Alessio, and Mark back from the current, not the past anymore. Yeah, we were just saying off there, it's probably, it was a very insightful and just very interesting chat that we had with them, Mark.
Yeah, look, I actually really enjoyed that chat. It was, really insightful. Just, there was more to it. Obviously, I think you're putting more out on the socials. But it was actually just a brilliant chat and a really good insight into women's clubs only, or men's and women's clubs. So it's just created a really good talking point. And look, I hope both of them do really well this year.
Absolutely. Very, 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 very good time. We thank them for giving up their time as well with us. We'll move on, going through the results from the past weekend, starting with the State League 2. In the Northern Division, Gawler Eagles losing 3-1 at home to Mowbray Vista. Adelaide Athletico in their first ever game, a 1-1 draw with Port Adelaide. Gun Kilburn drawing 2-2 with Salisbury Inter both in their first ever games. And Elizabeth Grove winning their first ever league game against Northern Demons up there. In the South Division, Adelaide Uni, a 2-2 draw between them and Seaford Rangers. Western Strikers beating Mount Barker United 4-1. Adelaide Titan as well, another new side, winning 2-0 against Noarlunga United. And Eastern United absolutely demolishing the Adelaide Hills Hawks 7-2. And I suppose, Alessio, I think you watched a bit of that. So we'll start with that.
Yeah, I did end up watching that live stream, and obviously I watched the Western Strikers Mount Barker game as well. But it just seemed like, just from the Eastern game, they just had so many chances going forward. And Adelaide Hills Hawks as well had a good few attackers as well, but they just couldn't keep the ball for that long. And with the way that Eastern United play, Gary Markage has really transformed his side into how he wants to play the formation. We've seen some of the team talks with some of his direction of how they're going to get the ball up the pitch. And by all means, they did it that day against Adelaide Hills Hawks. Obviously, David knows as well as I that some of the Hills teams had not done so well in the past, and a few predictions had them both lower in the table. So to see this result with probably a top 2 or 3 contender in Eastern United, probably dismantling the side, probably something not many people did not expect to see. But just the manner of it, I mean, even some of the goals were just great finishes. But you have to say as well, the keeper for Adelaide Hills Hawks, Connor Hudson, if we had State League 2 saves of the week here, would have probably had 2 or 3 in there as well. So it's not just due to down to bad players or bad performances, because a lot of people did put a lot of effort into this game, and I'm sure they just didn't give up, because you can see after being 2-3 goals down, they still ended up getting down the other end and scoring some goals. 2 ex-Mount Barker players as well scoring them for Adelaide Hills Hawks. But yeah, it goes to show why some of these teams are favourites to do well in this league, and they really proved it at home.
Absolutely. Mark, I suppose going to you, I think you can guess what teams we're going to talk about if we're going to you. The southern teams. We said Seaford drawing with Adelaide Uni, Noarlunga losing to Titans as well.
Yeah, look, the Seaford game, it actually didn't surprise me, though. I think I actually picked them to draw. I actually can confirm that a bit later on. But Seaford, with those very late signings that they picked up just before the season, has really transformed their team. They've added experienced players into a young squad that Quarterbank had out there. And it's made a big difference to the way they play. I did see them early in pre-season without them players, and then I saw them again with those players. So it did make a big difference to their side. The Noarlunga result surprised me. I was expecting Noarlunga to do a little bit better and get the result there, especially against one of the new sides. So they've got some work to do and build and basically rebuild again this year, because they did lose a few players last year. So I think they might struggle a little bit. But we'll see what happens. But one thing I did notice was that not one of the new sides lost at all in their first games. None of them lost, and actually two of them obviously got the win. So big week for the new teams.
Absolutely, and David, just finally we'll move on to you to talk about those new teams. Gun, Kilburn and Salisbury Inter, the two new teams playing against each other, having out a draw, and Atletico having a 1-1 draw with Port Adelaide as well. It's pretty big for those new sides, and it's obviously Grove winning their first ever game against Northern Demons.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember exactly what we picked last week, but we did feel that a team like Eastern United would finish at the top half of the table and Hawks would be at the bottom. And in the terms of the North, I think we also predicted that some of these sides coming in would do okay. And as Mark has pointed out, none of them have lost. They've either drawn or won their games. So I don't know, are we really that shocked? I don't really feel that I'm that shocked by some of these results. I sort of think that some of these teams coming in have got a bit to prove, and in both the North and the South divisions, that was evident in terms of the scorelines.
Absolutely, a very, very interesting first round of that State League 2 competition. On to the WSL, round 1 there. Modbury Jets coming out 3-1 winners over Cove. Elizabeth Grove and Modbury Vista, a game which we predicted to be quite close, ended up a big way of Modbury Vista 7-1 winners there, away to Elizabeth. Sturt just getting past Adelaide Jaguars 2-1, and South Adelaide beating Western Strikers 3-1. I suppose the big game and the big shock there is probably Elizabeth Grove versus Modbury Vista, a game which we expected to be a hell of a lot closer than it was, Mark.
Yeah, I think we all picked either a draw or a very, very tight win for Modbury. So it did surprise me a lot, considering obviously Grove come off the big win of the Cup. However, they did the same last year. They actually won the Cup, and then I think they lost the following week or had a bit of a bad run. So a little bit of past coming back to haunt them maybe. But yeah, very surprising result.
Absolutely, and just another one touch on David Sturt, only just getting past Jaguars after being relegated, which was probably a big surprise for me.
Yeah, a little bit, but it's a win for them, isn't it? And so I think from their perspective, getting their first game out of the way and not losing it would have been important. They can build on that. I can't remember who they've got next week, but they can build on that. And that game was at home, so they'll be away next week. I just also wanted to mention Cove and Modbury Jets. I had predicted a Cove win in there, I think. And I've been raving about this young star, Gracie Curtis, in that team. She scored in that game for Cove. So keep your eye on that name, or your ear open for that name. I think she's going to do great things in the long term. She's still only probably 17 years of age. So a bit disappointed for Cove. I was hoping maybe as well lassie there, Claire Levy as well, that plays for them too. So and of course Tracy Jenkins is coaching there. So I still have a good feeling about Cove. I was just a bit disappointed that they suffered a 3-1 defeat in their opening game, but the opening games is a long way to go, isn't there? But certainly, I would say starting back to them, would be happy to at least have not lost, get yourself onto a winning start. But yeah, the big one, the big surprise, I suppose, is Grove and Vista, isn't it? We just didn't really think that would be as big a gap or a bigger gulf as it turned out to be.
Yeah, absolutely. On to round 2 of State League 1. South Adelaide losing 2-0 to Sturt Lions at home. West Adelaide beating Pontine Eagles pretty comprehensively 6-0 at Kilburn. Salisbury United with a game for the ages against Adelaide Olympic, a 3-2 win for them. Cove in their first win of State League 1, a big result for them, especially after last week. 2-1 against Cumberland. Fulham 3-1 against Cobras. And then, as we spoke about earlier, Vipers winning away at Marden 2-1 against Adelaide Blue Eagles. I suppose, Mark, we'll start with you again. Cove, coming back, very, very resilient.
Hey, three of us picked it.
Did I not?
Hey, David, I can't remember what you did, but I know David, Alessio, and I all picked Cove to come back. And as
that leaves one.
We all had our different ideas as to why we were going to pick them. I picked them purely because I thought that some of the older heads in that team, the likes of your Ollie Grants, your Foglias, who just scored, and your Cannies, they would have taken that result last week to heart. They would have been, hey, this is not us. This is our reputation up on the line. So let's put in the effort and let's do the right thing. They come out and got the result. And I also think Cumberland probably going, Cove got thumped last week. It might be a bit of an easier game. So a couple of different reasons. Alessio, obviously, as he said, he was adamant that Stubbins cannot outcoach Kitchen at the moment, and we have a Cumberland didn't get the result. So, but a huge win for Cove, gets their season off started, and we'll just have to see what they can do next week.
Absolutely. And one thing I will just note that I have just realised going back, so far we are 3 episodes in. Our guests have been Danny Greystone and Matt Canny. Guess who won their games that week?
Well, I'm
just saying. I'm just saying.
I was about to say that I think from memory, I backed Cove this week based on the absolutely beguiling nature of Matt Canny when he was on last week. I sort of fell in love a little bit with him, I think. But also the way he talked about the team, and they're not in just to try and stay up. They're not in to consolidate a spot in State League 1. They're there to try and get finals. And I just had this feeling after having listened to him that they would bounce back. So well done, Cove. And I did watch that game on the couch on Saturday. So yeah, no, well done.
Yeah, absolutely. Very big win for them. I'll go because I was at Salisbury United versus Adelaide Olympic, which was a very, very entertaining game. It was me and Antonis there. Got off to an early start. Matt Taylor kicking back into gear for this season. A very, very nice goal. With the captain's armband, pretty much just seemed to really kickstart the team whenever they were sort of looking down. Just sort of had something back. There was this goal as well for Olympic, which was just a little bit against the run of play. Salisbury were probably the much better side in the first half, in my opinion, and so was Antonis, I think. We spoke to Matt Gasson after the game as well, and he was pretty much in agreement that their first half was better. And then there was this incident where it's just a completely unnecessary penalty to give away. The ball's going out of play, just pretty much needed to hold it for a little bit longer, and it would have been a goal kick. Instead, conceding a penalty, which Jordan Puddler put away pretty easily right down the middle and celebrated with we pointed to kids who I don't think were really watching the game, so I'm not sure what the pointing was for. And then, like I said, a great ball in, and then Matt Taylor again just rejuvenating the side for this final stage of the match. Another great goal from him. It's just what we've come to expect from him so far this season. And then I suppose in classic Salisbury fashion, as I like to call it now, a long throw in, the State League 1 special, and then the man who gave away that unnecessarily penalty scores the winner in the 90th minute. And the place was great. It was a great atmosphere. They were very lovely to us as well when we were commentating there. And overall, a great day for Salisbury and a great game to have the privilege to commentate at. Yeah, it was definitely a great game and good to watch. Also, while simultaneously having the Adelaide United versus Auckland game on in a TV right behind us, keep on looking back at that and seeing what the hell's going on with that. Was certainly a fun day of football. What else can we mention? Oh, West Adelaide, Pontin, 6-0. Alessio. Very big win. I probably expect it to be a bit closer compared to, seeing what Pontian did last week.
Yeah, I mean, going by our predictions, all of you had a 1-goal win for West Adelaide in different ways than one. 2-1s, 3-2s, 1-0s. And I had the 4-0 West Adelaide. I just could see that on the artificial pitch, West Adelaide just kick into gear. And there was a couple of shouts for goal of the week as well with some of these strikes. I think there's one later on as well that was an absolute perler. But they're a dangerous team, West Adelaide. And if you poke the bear like they did, like that happened last week, getting a draw when they thought they were going to start the season with a bang, then this happens in the second round. All their attackers just seem to be on form this game, and all of them seeming to get the goals. I've witnessed this firsthand when we played against them in pre-season, but they just have goals from everywhere. They really proved it this time. And yeah, against the Pontian team, who are dubbed the next big home team of the season, they really got punished for it this week.
Yeah.
6 different goal scorers as well. Just note that 6 different goal scorers.
Yeah, I was really impressed with this striker here for West Adelaide, the number 9, the Japanese fella. He just, when we played against him, he was one of the best imports I've ever seen. The way he never gives up was just unbelievable. So to see him and about 4 or 5 different other attackers they can rotate through, they've got a lot of options this season.
Yep. West Adelaide definitely a side to keep your eye on going into the rest of the State League 1 season. Going into the NPL, the men's NPL for round 2, Comets first ever game at Ellis Park, beating Adelaide United 1-0 very, very, very late on. Modbury Jets a 2-1 win over Croydon. Metro Stars scoring early to beat Adelaide City. Burkalla playing out under the Classic in a 3-3 draw against Campbelltown. Playford absolutely demolishing Para Hills Knights at Ramsey Park. And in the derby, Croatia Raiders getting the first away win since both sides being in the NPL coming back. I suppose, Alessio, we'll start with that game on the Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, it was a classic derby. Fair few fans turned out. So obviously, a standalone fixture is a good thing as well. It started probably the fashion that you would expect after both of the teams played in their first week. They were probably a bit poorer than they expected, and the game started quite slow. Took about to be the second half when a couple of striker instinct finishes from Anthony Costa led them into a probably against a run of play lead into the second half. Even from some of their players after the game, they said for probably the first 10, 15 minutes and even maybe a couple of 30 minutes or so in the second half, they just felt like they were being outplayed by Beograd. So to see them get such a shock 2-0 lead, they would have been taken with both hands, especially going into the break away from home. And they just continued that in the second half with another early goal in that period, which just probably led it to be a bit too far to come back for Beograd. They did get a goal in the end, but as has been probably most games I've been there, One Solution Park, and I was definitely the game the previous week. They just didn't have enough going forward. The gap was just too big in the midfield to the attack, and they just couldn't win the second balls and couldn't get back into the game. So it's a tough road for them, and doesn't get any easier with the next few games they have with Adelaide United Youth Team at Cooper Stadium and then Metro Stars as well. So they're going to struggle a little bit to, I think, get off the foot of the table with a point or two. But yeah, you can never give up with such a heavily backed team like this, and with players of Serbian background as well. I know that after feeling that hurt, they're going to definitely push on to get some points later on.
In the club rooms after, I got to say, Adonis Natsiopoulos he was visibly distraught at the end of that, and I really felt for him, and Adrian Deloy as well. He was really down, so you could see that the defeat had really affected them. So hopefully they bounce back. It wasn't nice to see them so low.
Yeah, absolutely. It was hard. It was hard to see. I think definitely after.
Yeah,
Mark, we'll go to you. As you spoke about, you were at Playford for your game, and then you were at Playford for another game, which ended up pretty close, I think.
Yeah, so I was there for the main game, which was our game, obviously, and then I stuck around and commentated on the other game that was played
little one,
after
yeah.
ours. Yeah, we were the main attraction, and then no, the NPL boys decided to put on a show. To be honest, Playford were just awesome. There's no other way to put it. They were 3-0 up after 15 minutes. Dan Ryan with a hat trick. Mullen with a hat trick, and Tobias with a goal as well. 2 goals, actually. It was just, yeah. I don't know how to say it apart from the fact that Playford were awesome. Para Hills had no answers to anything that Playford did. The second half was a little bit more kind to Para Hills. They did get a goal. They did get themselves into the game. But by that stage, I mean, it was already 6-0 at half time. So it's always hard for a team to continue that intensity for another 45 minutes when you're 6-0 up. So, and for me, this is it this one? No, not this one. It's Mullins. One of Mullins' goals is up for goal of the week, and I cast my vote on it. It was just an outstanding goal. And I was chatting with Ostby, the goalkeeper for Playford, after, and he said he was right behind the shot, and the actual ball, as he hit it with the outside of his right boot, it kept curling away from him. This one here kept curling away from Dellingus and actually brushed the inside of the post. It was that close. He had to put it in that tight of a space. So, but like I said, Playford were outstanding. Para Hills have a lot of work. They made a double change after 15 minutes. One through injury, and the other, I'm assuming, was a tactical change. But yeah, Para Hills just didn't have an answer. And like I said, if they play like that every week, then they're in for a very long season. I hope it's not the case, that they are a better side than what they showed in that first half, but only time will tell.
Absolutely. I was sat beside you the whole time, and pretty much any time a goal went in, I think we looked at each other in awe because we just weren't really sure what was going on there. David. Oh, yeah. David, you were at Modbury, the match there. How was that?
Yeah, it was all right. I got there and they weren't prepared for my arrival, so there wasn't a table at all. And then I spoke to someone else and said, "Oh, there is a table, but it's in the meeting room. We can't interrupt them." And eventually, a guy called Matt Selby came to my rescue and very kindly organised the table. And so there was a little issue with power, and my commentary was cut off about halfway through the first half, but it came back on in the second half. Patrick McGregor, you can see there in the footage, scored very early on, scored a goal in just the 3rd minute, and I felt Modbury Jets were in control for most of the game, really marginally the better of the two sides. Yusai Ogawa, a Japanese player playing at centre-back, was best on ground for me. That was his through ball there for Hamish McCabe to score in the 55th minute. And then there was a little flurry at the end from Croydon. George Sonis' troops seemed to have lifted themselves a little bit, and with about 50 minutes to go or so, were awarded a penalty first, which was taken by Andre Carroll, but he contrived to hit the bar. I felt a bit sorry for him. It was a big moment in the match. Had he scored that, things might have turned out differently. And in the end, they did score a consolation goal, as it was. It's credited to Andrew Carroll in the footage there, but I don't think he was the scorer. I think it was
Luca Trimboli.
Yeah, I think it might be the substitute, Luca Trimboli. Finished 2-1. It was nice to see a Hamish McCabe goal celebration in the flesh. Haven't seen one there for a while. The other thing I was just going to point out was I felt Passia John was maybe a little lucky to stay on the park. At one stage, he put his head into Joku Wall. I don't know that he made that much contact, but the intent was still there. It wasn't pleasant to watch, but I don't think he received a booking. In fact, I think Morris Natal received a yellow card on the sideline for remonstrating with the referee. But other than that, it was an entertaining enough match, and I think Modbury Jets were probably deserved winners by that scoreline.
Absolutely. For me, I was at TK Shutter Reserve for Metro Stars vs Adelaide City, a game which was it was a very angry game. It was an early goal scored by Hamish Gow. Him and Visser just connecting so well again. A great goal. And that was sort of it for the whole game. Both sides sort of took turns in having attacks and having some sort of forays forward. But it was just it was a very I'm trying to think of the word that isn't the word it wasn't aggressive. It was aggressive in a nice way. There was a lot of passion in it. Challenges just flying in constantly. And Adelaide City probably unlucky in the end to probably not at least get a goal. Whether or not a draw, I'm not sure. But in the end, yeah, the one goal really the only one to separate them in quite a feisty is the word I think I'm looking for, a feisty match. Alessio, any more you want to touch on?
I got to see some of the goals and some partial footage of the Campbelltown-Bacala game. Some absolute crackers in there. That George Blackwood first goal in the NPL, boy, was that a cracker. Marino free kick. I think that could be the first free kick goal seen in the NPL this season. Can't remember if there was one last week or another one this week. But otherwise, a bit of a rotated side for Campbelltown. A couple more injuries as well, and they're waiting for a few more to get back. It's great for me to see my cousin make his starting debut for Campbelltown as well. It was a very proud moment for such a historic club as well. Looks like he had a pretty decent game and got involved quite a lot, played good minutes. But I think for Campbelltown, they're just waiting for a few more defenders to come back. They'd obviously start the young Harvey Steele, is he get his mark? Is that the right last name?
Yeah, that's him. Yep, Harvey Steele.
Yeah, had to start him in the defence, had to start a couple of others in different positions due to some of the injuries, and I think the bench was quite young as well. And they didn't do a bad job per se, but I think just the usual championship team of Campbelltown probably is missing a few names at the moment in defence. And yeah, but otherwise for Bacala, it just seems like they're one of the packages that keeps on delivering. I mean, I don't know how you coach 2-3-all draws in a week. What do you say? The defence is not good enough, the attack's too good? I don't know. But at least they're providing the entertainment. And over the previous years they've been in the NPL, they probably haven't had this much fun and provided this much to talk about. But it's glad to see every team in this league seems like they're outperforming what people expected or even what they probably expected themselves. So it's good to see. And yeah, we'll push on to the cup and maybe see a few more. Hopefully those draws turn into longer extra time penalties.
Absolutely. Finally, just looking back on results, the WNPL Preseason Cup Final played between NTC and West Adelaide. Probably two of the sides predicted to finish near about the top of the league. Luckily, we were provided footage for it as well. NTC getting the scoring underway first off in what was, from what I heard, because I haven't been able to see the full match, a pretty tight game between these two sides. NTC, as we said, getting the first goal off the bat about 20 minutes in. Yeah, 23 minutes in. And West Adelaide, then Emma Ryan, who by all accounts is an absolute speedster, scores this goal right at the near post to get the equaliser. And a game that just sort of turned both ways pretty much until the final minutes, which we'll see again another goal for NTC here. Just as I was saying, NTC, West Adelaide. Oh, this goal as well from Harriet Burnett, just chipping the. Can you call that, Mark? Can you call that chipping the keeper, even though she's not too much off her line?
Yeah, it's still a chip.
Yeah, and then this very, very late one from Nicole Blackett. She described herself as probably one of the most scrappiest goals she's ever scored. But it was enough to get them the cup final win and start their proceedings for the season. But as we said, or as I said, two sides very much looking to finish probably top of the WNPL, David.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, I mean, on the evidence that we saw there, I think these are two sides that are going to be in contention for that. I mean, West Adelaide had such a great year last year in the league. They just came undone in that very last game of the season, of course. But yeah, I would anticipate that both these teams are going to be in the top six. With Metro United really not that far behind them, I must hasten to add.
Absolutely. On to upcoming fixtures and predictions, starting with the WSL. Alessio will have his notebook in hand, I assume. He's muted.
I just wanted to mention as well some of the outstanding picks from last week as well. So obviously in the previous week, none of us had probably an unbelievable week. Only 4 points for Seb, 2 for Mark, 1 for David, and 6 for myself. But in the episode 2, there was a 4-game haul of exactly correct results from Mark. He picked the 3-3 draw between Campbelltown and Bacala. He picked the 2-2 draw between Garn and Inter. He picked the 2-2 draw between Uni and Seaford. And he picked the 2-1 win for Cove against Cumberland.
Okay, but we said that the first round didn't count, didn't we? We said the first round is just how we. It's like you can't be out with the first ball in cricket, backyard cricket, right?
Backyard cricket can't be out
That
first
was what
ball.
we agreed.
But it was a pretty good week for the rest of us anyway. Results at the moment stand with Seb with 14 points, Mark with 25, David with 13, and myself with 22.
I'll take not last. I'll happily take not last. Much better than
It
last
would have been
year from
easier
memory.
if you'd have done that in order, mate. Like you gone one up, one down.
That's just the way I have you guys
like-
how it
Oh,
predicts.
okay.
Got my hopes up for a second. Yes, well, on to upcoming fixtures for this weekend. No senior men's leagues fixture, of course, just the Cup, but the WSL and the WNPL now getting underway. Starting with the WSL, Modbury Jets versus South Adelaide. I'm going to go for a 3-1 Jets win.
Can I also just make the comment that last week when we did our tips, you went first, I went second, and Mark, I think he went like third or fourth. Mark had the privilege of knowing what everyone else had picked before he made his picks. So can I suggest that Mark goes first this week?
Okay, from now on,
if
Mark
that's the
can
theory,
go first.
if that's the theory, Alessio should go first because he had the joys of seeing all three of us pick.
Okay.
But I'll go first. Who was it? Modbury Jets and South Adelaide.
South Adelaide.
2-2 draw.
Alessio, you can go next.
I'll go with a 2-1 Jets win.
Okay, I said 3-1 Jets. David, how about you?
What was the game? Sorry, I was distracted. Somebody was at the
Modbury
door.
Jets versus South Adelaide.
I know I've missed what everyone picked. Modbury Jets versus, I'll go for, which defeats the purpose then, but I'll go for Modbury Jets in this one too. They were just too impressive in that opening round, I think. So I'll go for Modbury Jets, but I'll just make it 4-2.
Western Strikers versus Elizabeth Grove. I'm going to go for a 4-1 win to Elizabeth Grove. Mark, you can go.
2-1 Grove. They'll bounce back this week.
I'm actually going for draw. I'll go for 2-0. I'll go for 2-0.
I'll go for a 3-0 Grove win.
Modbury Vista versus Sturt Lions, a game which a couple of years ago was pretty much the promotion decider and probably could be in this later because, yeah, could be later as well. I'm going to go for a Vista 2-1. Mark.
I'll go Vista 3-1.
Davide.
I'm going to go. This is a massive game, isn't it? This is the two sides we expect might be up near the top for looking at promotions. I'll go for a 4-4 draw, a classic 4-4 draw.
I was going to go for a classic as well. I'm going to go a 5-4 win for Sturt.
Like it. Adelaide Jaguars versus Cove FC. I'm going to go for a 3-1 Cove win.
2-1 Cove win.
I'll also go for a 2-1 Cove win.
I will go for a 2-1 Jaguars win.
Wow. All right, on to round one of the WNPL. Starting off, Adelaide Uni versus Adelaide City. I'm going to go with an Adelaide City 1-0 win.
I'll go Adelaide City 3-0.
Sorry, what was the two teams?
Uni and City.
Oh, I'll go for Adelaide City in that, and I'll go 3-1.
So it seems that we don't want to be giving any redemption to Adelaide Uni women's team after we didn't say some nice things about them. So I'm actually going to go for a 2-2 draw in this game.
Yeah, but
Keep
is
everybody
the
happy.
logic if we continue, then they'll get better, and then we can be nice to them? No?
Like I said, it's motivation. Remember, we are a motivational tool.
That's it.
Next is Campbelltown versus Metro. David, which you will be at, a very, very exciting thing. First ever game there in the WNPL for Campbelltown. I'm going to go for a 3-1 Metro win.
Yeah, I'm quite looking forward to this. It's a game or a tie that intrigues me, and it's obviously the first time that we'll see Campbelltown up in the WNPL. But I think Metro United will be too strong for them, despite the fact that we don't know much about Campbelltown at this point in time. But I'll go for a Metro United win 4-1.
I'll go Metro 2-1, purely because so far when we have a guest on, they win that week.
The logic's undefeated so far.
That's it.
I'm going to go 3-2 Metro as well. Clean sweep for Metro, you reckon?
What's next? Adelaide Comets versus Flinders United. Their first ever game there for the women's side at Ellis Park. I'm going to go for a 4-0 win for Comets because, as we said, our guests always win.
Comets 3-0.
Comets 5-2.
I'm going to go 4-1 Comets.
Then the grand final rematch on Friday night, Salisbury Inter versus West Adelaide. I'm going to go for 3-1 West Adelaide.
4-1 West Adelaide.
I'll go 4-3 West Adelaide.
Oh, I'd like that. That'd be good to commentate. Thank you, Dave. That'd be very nice. Thank you.
Oh, that's the game you're at.
Yeah, 0-0.
Okay, cool.
I was going to go 3-1 West Adelaide too, sorry.
And then finally, Sunday afternoon/evening game, West Torrens Burkalla versus NTC. I'm going to go for a 3-1 NTC win.
Yeah, I think NTC will get up as well. Sorry, David. I'm trying to help you out. Remember, I'm trying to get in front of you so you can see all the picks. I'll go NTC and I'll go 4-2.
I'll go NTC and I'll go 4-2.
I'll go 3-0 NTC.
Very, very good. Very, very excited to see how that first round goes. On to the Cup. Very, very lot of games, but we will get through this. Starting on, tomorrow night, actually, is it not? Yeah, tomorrow night.
Thursday night.
Adelaide Comets of the MPL against Modbury Vista of State League 2. 7:15 p.m. kickoff at Ellis Park. I'm going to go for a 3-1 win for Comets in normal time.
3-2 Comets in 90.
4-1 win for Comets in 90 minutes.
I will go a 4-2 win for Comets in extra time.
Okay. on to Friday night. Adelaide Hills Hawks of State League 2 against Para Hills West of Sunday Division 1 in Sassel. I'm going to go for a 2-0 Para Hills West win up in the Hawks' Nest.
I might pop along to this. It's just along the road. Yeah, and a former club, so I have a bit of an interest.
Wait, you can't. You're commentating. You can't.
WNPL.
Yeah, you can't.
I can't be in two places at once.
No, you might be able to catch the last bit on your way home, maybe, if it goes to extra
remotely
time.
commentate the WNPL game and go to the cup game.
From the Adelaide Hills game.
Yeah, well, okay, I won't be there, but listen, I always fancy the top Sassel sides against the bottom Federation sides. So I'm going to go for Para Hills West win in this game too. It won't be by much. It'll just be 2-0, but it'll be done in 90 minutes.
I want to go 3-2 to Para in extra time.
I was going to go somewhat similar. I'll do the exact same thing. 3-2 Para in extra time.
Next up, also at 7 p.m, Sturt Lions of State League 1 against Anglevale of Sunday Division 1, a game which now has a lot more meaning, I suppose, in a way, due to the announcement today. I will go for a extra time Sturt to win 2-1.
I'm going Sturt 6-2.
I think Sturt will be too strong for Anglevale, and I think it will be done in 90 minutes, and it'll be a 4-0 win for Sturt.
You all looked at me like I'm crazy. I still said Sturt
mine
to
was
win, though.
Mine was 90, Alessio, just by the way.
Yeah. Well, I reckon it's going to be a 6-1 Sturt win, and John Fusco to score a penalty on his farewell game. I would doubt the man who takes it off him.
Yeah, I was going to say, good luck taking it. Whoever takes it off him, jeez.
You fear for the safety of the man who takes it off him.
7:30 p.m. on Friday night, Cumberland United versus Old Ignatian, State League 1 against Saturday Division 1. I'm going to go for Cumberland 2-1.
Cumbie 3-1.
Saturday Division 1's where I applied most of my trade as a player, and I know the Old Ignatian Soccer Club very well, but they won't be good enough to beat Cumberland, I don't think. Won't be a blowout though. Kazigis they've always been a very strong club, so I'll go with Cumberland, but I'll just make it 1-0 in 90 minutes.
I see a bit of a blowout here. I'm going 5-1 Cumberland in normal time.
Whoa.
Next up, 7:30 on Friday, the Downs of Sunday Division 1 against Seaford Rangers of State League 2. Always a great occasion, those nights at Agana Park. I'm going to go for... Well, David, we watched the Downs play against Port Pirates last year. And
yes, we did.
Wasn't that close from memory, was it?
I think it was 3-1 for the Downs.
Yeah, I'm going to go for Elizabeth Downs, a 3-1 win again in the first round of the Cup.
I watched Downs the previous year as well. I think they played Adelaide Cobras the previous year, and that was another game that Downs won as well. I'm going to try and get to this game as well. Friday night, I'm going to be a busy guy.
At least this one's just around the corner for you.
That's right. I'm going to go for Elizabeth Downs. I'm going to go for the Sassel side again, top Sassel side against a State League 2 side. So I'll go for Downs to win this, and I think it'll be 3-1.
I want to go Downs 4-2 in 90.
I've gone 5-3 Downs in extra time.
Ooh. 7:30, Tea Tree Gully of Sunday Division 1 against Adelaide Eagles of Sunday Division 1, who just got promoted from Division 2, alongside Para Hills United, who also feature in the Cup this year. I'm going to go for a Gully 3-1 win in normal time.
Gully 3-0 in 90 for me.
I'll go for Tea Tree Gully in this one as well. I actually don't know either of these two teams. In that I've never played against either of them, so I'll go for Tea Tree Gully 2-0.
Yeah, I'll go 3-1 Gully.
Next up, a game which probably won't mean anything in the significance of this podcast. Mount Barker at 7:45 against Adelaide Atletico. An all State League 2, but North versus South. Yeah, North versus South.
Yep.
I think they moved it to 8 o'clock now, but yeah.
Is it 8 o'clock? Oh, okay. Fine. I'm gonna go for... I forgot what was your first team result in the weekend? I generally don't remember.
They lost
4-1. But we played these guys in pre-season and we lost 4-3.
I'm gonna go for extra time. Mount Barker to lose. 3-2. That's me thinking.
I might try and get it.
My heart wants you to win, Alessio.
I might try and get out to this game. It's just along the road from me in Mount Barker. But I'm going to go for I think this one might go to penalties. And then it's a lottery, isn't it? So
I was thinking the same thing.
I think I'll go for Mount Barker to win this on penalties. Yeah, that's it. I don't know what the score will be. 2-2 after 120 minutes and Barker to win on penalties.
I'll go the pre-season result in 90.
Very, very nice. And finally for Friday night.
What about my
Hang on.
prediction?
Unless
sorry.
We know he's going on penalties, but
Yeah, I was going to go 2-2 normal time, 4-4 extra time, and penalties Barker to win.
Now, on to 8 p.m. Vipers FC of State League 1 against Eastern United of State League 2. A very interesting one, I think. I'm going to go for penalties and say 2-2 at the end of 120 and Eastern to win on penalties.
I'm going to go Vipers in extra time 3-2.
I'm going to go for Eastern United to win in a cup set, in a close game, 3-2.
Normal time?
Yeah.
I will go with a 4-2 Vipers. Yeah, a 4-2 Vipers win in extra time. I can watch it on the live stream. So Eastern.
True. On to this Saturday. Probably one of the earliest games I've ever seen in a cup fixture. 11:30 a.m. Brassfoot.
35. Yeah. Degrees.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh God. Brassfoot in there. I think they're technically the lowest ranked side in the cup against Elizabeth Grove of State League 2. And even then, Brassfoot only just got promoted, so almost a Division 4 Saturday side as well. I'm going to go for a Grove 3-0 win.
As much as I'd like to back our friends at Brassfoot, I'm going to have to go with the Grove normal time 4-2.
Yeah, I admire Brassfoot for having a crack at this. And I think it's great that they've put themselves forward for it. But I think Elizabeth Grove might be too strong for them. And Grove will win this one 3-0 in 90 minutes. But Brassfoot will enjoy themselves. They'll have a whale of a time, and it won't be as bad as if they'd drawn Mudbury Jets.
They might have had it that early, so then after the game they can party for as long as they want.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've given them a goal in this one. I think they're going to lose 3-1 to Grove, but I reckon they're going to celebrate that one goal like it's a samba on the party at the beaches in Brazil.
2 p.m. kickoffs now. Adelaide Cobras versus Mowbray Jets, the second of the 4 NPL sides to be involved in this round. I'm going to go a Mowbray Jets 3-1 win in normal.
Yeah, Mowbray Jets for me in 90, 4-2.
Mowbray Jets for me in 90, 4-0.
Yeah, I'm going to go 5-1 Jets in this one.
Is that after extra time or?
Normal time.
Noarlunga versus Salisbury Inter, North versus South again. I'm going to go for an Inter 3-0 win away.
Yeah, Inter 2-1, sorry, in 90.
Inter for me as well, 3-1.
Yeah, I'll go 4-1 win for Inter in this. Normal.
Para Hills United just getting promoted to Division 1 alongside Adelaide Eagles, finishing second in Div 2 against Adelaide Uni of State League 2, a game which has significance to me. My club have played at ever since I was before out of being in the womb. I'm going to go for I don't know. I'm going to go for extra time. Extra time. 3-2 Para Hills.
Uni 3-0 in 90. Sorry, son.
I expected that.
I'll give Parahills United a go. I'll say they'll get to penalties, and it will go to extra time. But Adelaide University will win in extra time, 2-1, 1-1 at 90, 2-1 at full time for Adelaide.
This game's actually being played at Para Hills Knights as well, just as a difference. Not actually being played at, even though they're literally, right next door to each other. But there is a slight difference.
It says the Feel Good Physio Coast Stadium,
which is Para Hills Knights, where they play. But Para Hills United, Para Hills United literally play on the pitch, just
outside the fence.
Yeah.
So they're normally looking in the fence, going, "Hi."
Yep. Alessio?
I went 4-0 Uni normal time.
Pitbulls of Division 1 Saturday against Blue Eagles of State League 1. 3-1 Blue Eagles in normal time.
For me, I'm going to go Blue Eagles, 90 minutes. I'm going to go 5-0. Dante and Ricardo to work in tandem a little bit better than they did the other night and turn it on.
I'll go Blue Eagles to beat Pitbulls 4-0.
I'll go 6-1 Blue Eagles.
Fulham versus Port Adelaide, State League 1 versus State League 2. I'm going to go for extra time and Port Adelaide to edge it 3-2.
Fulham 2-0 in 90. Sorry Fulham to my Port friends.
Fulham to win this one 3-1.
I had the same, Fulham 3-1 normal time.
Western Strikers versus Gawler Eagles. I'm going to go for Western Strikers to win 3-0 at home.
Strikers 3-1 in 90.
Strikers to win 2-0 in 90.
I will go 4-1 Strikers to win in 90. And keep an eye out for their Islander, Spokey Jack.
Spooky Jack. I think he got their man of the match last weekend too.
I would hope so after a hat trick.
2:30 p.m. kickoff. We head down to the Limestone Coast. Narracourt United versus Cove FC. Limestone Coast versus State League 1. Narracourt, though, finishing bottom of the Limestone Coast last year from memory. So I'm probably going to go for a Cove 7-0, 8-0.
Which one?
8.
I'm going Cove 7 because that was what I was going to pick. That's why I was like waiting to see what you were going to say. I was like, you're going to go 7 and then 8. I'm going 7. 7 of the Cove. After extra, 90 minutes.
Extra time.
Nothing each after 90 and Cove to score 9 goals in extra time. I'll go for Cove as well. I think they'll get up to 6 goals quite quickly. Then they'll take the foot off the gas and score 2 late ones to win it 8-0.
I've gone 9-2 Cove.
Yeah,
gave them some goals though. That was quite nice of you. 3:30 p.m. Garn versus Northern Demons. I'm going to go for a 2-0 Garn win in 90.
Is this, sorry, Seb, is this away or at home for Garn?
This is at home for Garn.
Okay. So Ferryden Park. I'm going to go with Garn 3-2 in 90. Apologies to all my Demons friends.
Well, they made a pretty good run in the Cup last year as well.
I'll also go for Garn to win this one, 4-2 in 90.
I'll go Garn 4-1 90.
4:30 p.m. on Saturday, Apollo FC of the Limestone Coast versus Adelaide Croatia Raiders of the NPL. I think this one will perhaps also be a blowout. Not as much as Narracourt, maybe. Oh, I'm going to go 7-0 Croatia.
I'm gonna go 9-0. In 90, Costa to score 4, King to score a hat trick. And then someone else to score 2 more.
On the strength of what Alessio and I saw at the weekend, the Croatia Raiders look very good, and I think they will double figure. I had to be careful how I said that. I think they will double. They will double. They will double figure a Paul. It will be 10-0.
I will up you with a 12-1. Adelaide, Croatia.
Another Limestone Coast side at 6:30 p.m. Gambia Centrals versus Adelaide Olympic. Gambia Centrals, who made the grand final. Does anyone remember if they won it? I'm not sure.
Can't recall. Yeah.
I think I'll have a look quickly, but they made the grand final as well. I'm going to go for an Olympic. We're not being nice. If anyone from the Limestone Coast is listening, we apologise. 9-0 Olympic.
I'll go 7 Olympic in 90.
I think this will be a bit closer than that. I'll go for Olympic to win it, but only 4-0.
I'll go 6-1 Olympic.
Very, very good. At 7 p.m, Pontian Eagles of State League 1 against Bossa of Saturday Division 1. I'm going to go Pontian 3-1, but in extra time.
I'm going to go Pontians 3-2 in extra time. 2-2 at the end of 90.
I'm going to go for a bit of an upset in this. I'm going to back Bosa in this. That's another club like Old Ignatius that I'm very familiar with. Played against them lots of times, and they're certainly used to be a class side. And I think I don't ever recall them dropping out of that top Sasso Division 1 Saturday. So I'm going to go for an upset in this. Pontian are coming off a defeat, right? They lost to West Adelaide, right?
Yeah, 6-0.
Yeah, so I'll go for an upset in this. I'll say Bossa to win, but it'll be 120 minutes and it'll be 2-1, just be very close.
I'll go 3-2 Pontian in normal time.
And then finally on the Saturday night, 7 p.m. as well, Salisbury United of State League 1 versus Playford of the NPLSA, a Northern Derby, which I think everyone loves to see. I'm going to go for... Do I predict with my heart or with my head?
Why don't you just go with the train?
I will, 3-2 in... No. Penalties... 3-3 at the end of 120, and Salisbury to win on penalties. That's what I want.
I'm going to go with. I'm going to go Playford to win in extra time 4-3.
Two teams that know each other well from last year. I can't remember how they did against each other though. I'll go for a Playford win, 120 minutes and just 1-0. Nothing each at 90 and 1-0 in the 116th minute.
Matt Gaston and Ben Moore, former teammates, I'm pretty sure, if my memory serves me correctly as well. Both Playford as well, formerly.
Yep. I'm actually going to go to this game and watch it. And I'm hoping for an exciting game. I was going to go exactly with Mark, 4-3 Playford in extra time, but maybe I'll up it to a 5-4 Playford in extra time.
I didn't know we were bartering for predictions.
I'll raise your 4-3 and give you 5-4.
On to Sunday. 2 p.m. International of the Limestone Coast against Adelaide Titans. International, after researching, were the other team in the Limestone Coast Grand Final who beat Gambia Centrals 2-1. So by that logic, the best team in the Limestone Coast against Adelaide Titans. I'm going to go for a 6-0 Titans. Why'd you giggle?
I'm going to go with a 3-2 after extra time to the Titans. I think it's going to be. I think it'll be a closer match than we think, that one.
I think it'll be close to, but I agree with you, Mark. I think Titans will win, but it'll be a bit closer. I'll go for 2-1 Titans in 90 minutes.
I'll go 6-2 Titans in normal time.
2:45 on Sunday, Southern Knights of Sunday Division 2 against West Adelaide of State League 1. I'm going to go for a 6-0 West Adelaide. In 90.
I'll go. Oh. I'm not sure what.
Do you think this will be close?
No, but I also don't want to offend Benny Dale.
Well, too late for me.
he's back this week because he's been away. He's actually back in time this week for both his WSL side and his cup game. So, look, sorry, Benny. 4-0 West Adelaide after 90. Sorry, mate.
David.
I'm going to go for a 3-0 win for West Adelaide in this, and the game will be over before it starts because as I look at this, it says it's a forfeit already. So I'll go for 3-0. I'll go for 3-0.
Hang on. Hang on.
No, I'm going for 3. No, I'm going for 3-0. Unless
you shouldn't have said anything, David. You would have had it spot on.
Hang on.
Lock it in 3-0. That's what your call.
Oh, thanks, David. I'll go for a 3-0 West Adelaide.
Okay, let's move on to Parahill.
If the game is forfeited, no one gets the result.
Yes,
no, that's.
I think that's fair.
I was just going on a whim. I don't know if David was correct or not. I just thought, oh, maybe that's a good omen.
Oh wow. Okay. It is forfeited by the looks of it.
So I get the point for that already.
So who forfeited? No. Who forfeited?
Southern Knights. Very interesting. That's why you do your
research. Right, I reckon West Adelaide will go to the next round then.
Yeah, no points to anyone for that, regardless.
You're making this up as you go along.
You're lucky. I was going to go for a 10-1 West Adelaide as well. So.
Second to last, 5 p.m. on Sunday, Parahills East versus South Adelaide. I think this one will go to extra time, and Parahills East will win 3-2 just because of the form that South Adelaide's been in lately. I don't think the Cup's going to do them any favours.
I think the Cup will. I'm going to go Souths 2-1, 90.
I'm going to go for a 3-0 win for South Adelaide in this one as well.
Is this one up for forfeit as well?
No, it's not.
I'm just going for a 3-0 score in this one.
I'm going to go 3-1 Parahills East in extra time.
Very, very nice. And then finally, 6 p.m. on Sunday, a very, very lovely time slot, especially for the two teams involved in Portland Panthers of Victoria and Croydon Cougars of Saturday Division 2. Two teams which we know not a single ounce of information about.
We do know that the Panthers, what are they called?
good
Portland Panthers.
Yeah.
We do know that they were playing in the Victorian League last year and they've come back to the Limestone Coast League this year where they were prior. So they have changed. I think probably COVID is the reason why they moved back to the Victorian League, going back obviously a few years now. And I'd say that the reason that because they were prior to that in the Limestone Coast League. So I'd say that with that now all cleared and everything, they've now had their chance to get back into the Limestone Coast League.
Yeah.
So we do know that they have changed swap leagues. So we do know something about them.
We do know something.
I may not know the name, but we know that.
I'm going to go Croydon Cougars 4-1.
I'm going to go Croydon Cougars.
Go 6-6.
I'm going to go.
Why not?
I have no idea. I was going to go 5-all. 5-4, sorry, after 90. I have no idea.
I actually know a little bit more about the Portland Panthers because I reached out to them to see if they would come on our little show. And I got a reply from their comms officer, Nicholas De Bono, who said that President David will contact us. But we never heard anything from David. So we still don't know much more about them than that, do we? We know that they're Victorian.
you know that you contacted them and that he shares your same name, and that's it.
We know that the comms officer is Nicholas De Bono, and we know the president is David. So with all of that to go on, I'm going to go for a Croydon Cougars 3-0 win.
I went with a 4-1 Cougars win normal time.
Very, very well. Well, that's all the games predicted and gone through. Alessio has his sheet very much filled out, and I'm sure he'll
go all the way to the bottom because there's just so many cup games.
He'll have a very fun time going through that when the results come through. Anything else from the rest of you that you want to touch on before we finish off for this week?
I have something.
Yes.
It'll be probably announced next week, but something amazing for the show has happened last week, and we could probably announce details next week. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be very exciting.
Oh, you're teasing them, Mark.
Yes,
them.
I am.
Ooh.
I am. Yes, very much so.
Ooh. Yeah. Anything else from you, David or Alessio?
No
Make
more
sure
to
you
add
get
to
out
honor.
to the games. I know there's a lot on similar times, but the more the merrier. A lot of big games, derby games.
If David can go out to 3 simultaneously, I don't think there's any excuse for anyone not to go to 1, I think. Thank you 3 for joining me as always. Thank you to Metro as well for sending this shirt. Make sure to follow us on all our social medias to keep up to date with anything that we do or go on. Mark?
Thank you to our guests who took time out of their schedule last night to do the interviews for tonight, which was greatly appreciated. So thank you very much to Paul and Joel, and all the best for their seasons this week and their seasons.
Yep, and those full chats have already gone live on YouTube and Spotify as well, so you're able to listen to those in full as soon as this finishes, if you would like to. Gentlemen, thank you for joining me. It's been a lovely time as well. Oh, there's even more, David. Oh, we're inundated with information, David.
It is worth having a little look at the full thing on YouTube because we do have a little quiz there. We had a bit of fun with the quiz, which wasn't included tonight. So you might have to scroll through it. It's probably about, I don't know, half an hour in or something. But have a little look at the quiz.
I think the full interview is about 45 minutes. So but it's a good chat. It was a very good chat. You only saw a bit of it tonight, but it was a very, very enjoyable chat. Yes. We all done, definitely?
Yeah.
All good?
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you 3 for joining me, as always. We'll see you around the place. Big WNPL weekend coming up. Big Cup weekend coming up. Adelaide United playing on Saturday as well. Very, very big weekend for football. Thank you 3 for joining me, and we'll definitely see you all next week.
Thank you. Good night.
Ciao. I can't find. Oh, I found it now. Okay, bye. Alex Mark to make it 3-1 in the grand final. Puts in the penalty and wins the grand final for Campbelltown City.
No one attacks it. Comes back off the Fernandez. It's a goal. It's goal. Oh! And then Talisman's got another one.
Harry City back quick.
Jake King. Oh, what a shot. My goodness me. Oh, can't teach that sort of stuff.
Sends it in, keeps it low, and it's gone in! It's gone in! Adelaide Uni have scored in time added. Tries to get under control, and the shot from Tolland! Salisbury into a 2-0 up! Still Butler with another chance, it's 2-1 to Playford! Persistence has paid off for Playford!
One touch the keeper, puts it into the bottom corner. Beach gives him a shoulder after that as well. He's lost his clean sheet and he's lost his head with a red card. David, this is massive.
Skills to make the girls sing and the geezers too. Yeah, we're doing this thing.